We have reached the main event of the evening.
This is Voice of the Cage Radio with the voice of the cage himself, Patrick Stanger.
We're about to tussle.
Fighters, trainers, promoters, events, rumors. If it has to do with MMA, we're talking about it. Here's your host, Patrick Stanger.
Welcome to Voice of the Cage. I'm Patrick Stanger. On the phone with me right now is none other than Chris Leben. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about UFC 132 in just a moment. Wanted to go back to The Ultimate Fighter Season 1. Obviously, you get asked about this all the time, I'm sure. But did you ever think in a million years that your life would come to this when you entered this show, what was it, 6 years ago?
I just wanted to fight in the UFC. I mean, when we first went on the show in that first season, they didn't even know if that show was even going to get aired.
Wow.
When they first started filming, So, it's the growth in the last, 6 years that this sport has went through, the changes that this sport has went through. I mean, there's nobody that could have predicted the explosion of MMA in the world. And if they say that they did, they're lying to you. Obviously, I wanted to make it into the UFC, and I wanted to fight and be known a little bit, but I didn't think that I would have to hide my head when I walk around the casino.
By the way, I saw you fight at UFC 116. I went there for my 40th birthday party, and was my first UFC event, live in Vegas, of course. And wow, what a fight you put on that night with Yakiyama. Thank you very much.
Thanks, yeah.
Who would ever thought you would have triangled Yakiyama?
It's actually a funny story because after the fight, I'm walking back, and I turned to my coach, Burton Richardson, and I said, "What was that, about halfway through the second round?" And he's like, "No, dude, you had like 15 seconds left in the third." And that's how far out of it I was.
Man,
I had no idea that I had even fought in three full rounds. So it turned out, you don't know what happened when you're in there till afterward. Then going back and watching the footage of the fight, I was like, wow, this is a great fight, So, and I think I was probably down on points too, so I really lucked out with that triangle.
Obviously, you're fighting Wanderlei Silva July 2nd in Las Vegas. What are you doing to prepare for Wanderlei Silva? I mean, I did my radio show the other day, right? We did our predictions, and we got to the prediction between you and Wanderlei, and I gave it a draw. This is the only time I've ever given a fight a draw. And who predicts a draw? Who does that? Because I just pictured you guys.
I don't know, bro. You must be crazy if you're predicting a draw between me and Wanderlei.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I think it's one of those fights that's probably not going to last all 3 rounds. Obviously, train for the worst, hope for the best. But, with me and his styles, both of us, we'll probably start off, with a little bit of technique, but I'm sure by the end of the 3rd round, it's going to be wide open, full throttle.
You guys are going to be like a bar brawl, like a drunken bar brawl, like the whole time. I mean, this is an exciting fight, man.
Well, I think we're going to have a little bit more technique than that. For sure, it's going to be one you're not going to want to blink.
Yeah, obviously a lot of technique, but the excitement of a barroom brawl, which is full blast the whole way through. Where have you been training to get ready for this fight for UFC 132?
I did all my training at my gym in Honolulu, Hawaii, and bringing my coaches out. I work with Burton Richardson out there, Joe Kim for my hands, and then I brought Greg Thompson out from Portland. I've been working with him for the last couple of years. He helps me with my strength and conditioning, and then as well with the MMA stuff.
You went through a transformation a few years ago where evidently I think you changed your diet and you cut out drinking. How has that elevated your style? I mean, how's that elevated your career professionally?
Well, just really cleaning up my act. Obviously, it changed a lot of things. I mean, when I first started, at Team Quest, we would just beat the crap out of each other. That's what we did, and that was all of my training pretty much. And then I started to evolve, and I started actually doing some conditioning. And then when I realized I had to make even more shifts. Those shifts became in my personal life, and obviously, a clear head helps you on the mat.
Right. What are you weighing right now?
I was 196 when I woke up this morning, which is extremely light for me.
Appreciate you doing the interview today. UFC 132 happening Saturday night. Check it out. Chris Leben, thanks for joining me today.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Voice of the Cage Radio with the Voice of the Cage, Patrick Stanger. Please email questions. Do you want me to say please or just email? Please seems so out of place.
Can I say please? Okay. Sorry. No, don't.
Let me elbow you in the face and please email your inquiries. Okay. Email questions, inquiries, and other business to info@voiceofthecage.com. Facebook search Voice of the Cage and like to get the latest Voice of the Cage radio show. To book Patrick Stanger at your next fight promotion, visit voiceofthecage.com.